Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started there post-race with our winning team. The number 14 Mobile One Office Depot Chevrolet goes to victory lane here today for the 15th annual Cobalt Tools 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're joined right now by crew chief Steve Addington and also joined by co-owner Gene Haas. Congratulations, gentlemen. Steve, I'm going to ask you first. 3 races in, your first victory with Stewart Haas Racing. It's got to be a one that you'll always cherish.
Yes, it will. And the points race, and to be here in Vegas, to know how bad Tony wanted to win this race and from after last year, and just tried to come in and we had a great practice all weekend really. And I was really disappointed that we didn't get the pole, but he said our goal is Sunday, and I'm not a good qualifier, and I was just like, well, I didn't do a good job for you on Friday, but we'll try to go after him Sunday. And he did a heck of a job, got up on the steering wheel, and just gave great feedback all day long in the race car, and stayed cool when we got off a little bit, and we're able to adjust on it and get it back to the front.
Very good. Congratulations. And Gene, this race team has taken it up a notch. I believe you've won 6 out of the last 13 Sprint Cup races. Almost 50% of the last 13 races, the 14 cars been to victory lane. Just talk about the run that you guys are on right now.
Well, I think it really comes down to Tony Stewart. Phenomenal driver. He has great throttle control. He's very, very adept at figuring out what's going on in a race. I think, as Steve mentioned, he doesn't always qualify the best. He's not always trying to, hang it out 110%, but he can consistently get the car, do what he wants. And I think even today, when you watched on those 3 restarts, he's just smooth as glass. He doesn't hiccup, and he just gets it done. It's very nervous when you do those kind of things, because it can slip away so fast. Done this for a while, and there's just so many things that can happen. You can break something, you can spin the tires, someone can slide up into you, and the closer you get to those like the green-white checkered or the white flag, the harder it is to keep doing that, because sooner or later your competitors figure out what's going on, and you do it 3 times and you don't make a mistake. That's hard to do. But Tony is great at that. I think in the last, like you say, last 13 races or so, he's won 6 of them. That's phenomenal. I really believe that Tony is just coming into his own with Stewart Haas Racing. He's as calm as I've ever seen him. He's composed, very confident in what he does. I have no doubt that this could be another pivotal year for Tony.
Okay, we'll take some questions now for Steve or Gene. Let's start right here with Mark in the red shirt. Amy?
Oh, sorry.
Mark Garrow, and then we'll go to Mark and then Tom.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Steve, we talked a little bit this morning, and, you were cautiously optimistic and feeling a little bit of heat, trying to get that first win out of the way. How much pressure does this take off of you moving into a situation where you're taking over for a championship crew chief, having to lead a group of guys that he led, and then getting to victory lane so quickly?
Oh, it's a big relief, Mark. It's to know that you're the difference in the race team right now. But I'm gonna tell you, everybody's been awesome. There's nobody put the pressure on me except myself, and I really didn't realize how much I'd put on myself going to work for the championship team the very next year. So it's been a lot of pressure, and I think that even when Tony feels good about the car, I'm still questioning, and he's just like, relax, dude, it's going to be all right. And so, I texted him a couple of times last night, and he was like, what do you want to do? And I told him a couple of little things, and he was like, okay, we're good. Just go ahead and do what you feel like you need to do. He was real confident in the race car. It's just me wanting to get that win. It's the first mile-and-a-half racetrack together, and just a little nervous about it.
Let's go here to Mark, and then we'll go to Tom, and then to Terry.
Mark Anderson, Las Vegas View Journal. Steve, was there anything special about the restarts? Anything special you guys did, or was it just? Can you explain it?
Well, I mean, the car was pretty good off the truck, and we were able to just do little things. We were able to make some changes. We had a game plan going in that if the car was doing this, doing that, we were going to change that. And all through practice, all the ideas that the guys and myself would come up with to to try, it was getting the car a little bit better, and that's why I was disappointed in Friday of not getting the pole, because I thought we had a car that could do that. But you know, it's wasn't anything special. It was just, you know, everybody working together and communicating all through practices and stuff, and we didn't get in a panic. We just did our deal and didn't pay attention to a whole lot to other guys' lap times, other than when Tony had asked where we stack up, and just got the car driving good for him.
Before we get to Tom, let's go ahead and hear from Tony if we can. Tony Stewart goes to victory lane here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, driving the number 14 Mobile One Office Depot Chevrolet. This is Tony's 45th career NASCAR Sprint Cup win, his first win here at Las Vegas, and I believe, Tony, if my math's right, you've won 6 of the last 13 Sprint Cup races. I'm not real good in math, but that's almost 50%. That's pretty good, and you checked off a track that you hadn't won. It's got to be a big win here for you.
It is, but before we get too far into this, I want to, Mulhern, look over here. I just want to see how good you look in your new hat.
Yes.
It's a big improvement, by the way.
He wanted to go to victory lane with you.
No. No. He looks good, but not that good. So.
I got you.
No, just an awesome day. You know, we felt like after happy hour yesterday that we had a really good, solid, fairly balanced race car. I mean, and that's probably the best I've felt leaving happy hour in a long time. So the hard part was, you know, just looking at the timesheet and seeing how many guys that we were all right together speed-wise. So you knew it was going to be a tough day to really get an advantage. But it didn't take long in the day to really see who the 3 guys. You know, I felt like we were kind of the 3rd guy in the group, but definitely Matt Kenseth and Jimmy were guys that we were going to have to battle to the end with. So just nerve-wracking end of the day for sure. Obviously, you know, not knowing from the driver's side, not knowing what the pit strategy is going to be, and that's the hard part for Steve. You know, that's where he makes his big money, is you know, making those clutch calls like that. And so you sit there, and when we pulled out and we were on 2 tires and there were only a couple guys behind us on 2, it was pretty nerve-wracking just knowing that we were going to have to get going. But every time the caution came out, you knew that was another heat cycle on the tires, and that kind of every time it came out, it evened it out a little more. But man, our car was so strong today on restarts. Just you know, we could get to the start-finish line and get to turn 1 so good today that was a big key in holding these guys off. And it seemed like we were a little bit weaker than the guys behind us for the first 3 laps, and it seemed like the next 3 laps would kind of break even, and then after about 6 or 7 laps, we'd start pulling away again. So it was just a matter of getting a good restart, hitting our marks for a couple laps, and you know, going on. But just every time the caution came out, you just cringed, just knowing that you were giving them another opportunity to take a shot. And it seemed like everybody got their turn at it. You know, it's just different person on each restart that we had to hold off. But you know, Steve Addington did an awesome job. Our guys did an awesome job in the pits all day, kept us good track position, and you know, we had an awesome you know, Mobile One Office Depot Chevy again, and great Hendrick horsepower. So really proud of those guys. You know, after a rough weekend last weekend, they definitely rebounded again this week.
Okay, let's go over here to Tom, and then we'll go Terry Blunt, and then to Kenny. Go ahead, Tom.
Congratulations, guys. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. I was going to ask Steve, but Tony, if you want to weigh in on this too, how important was clean air out here? Because it looked like track position was almost everything in this race. It didn't seem like anybody could really challenge the leader.
Well, that was where it came down to the call there to put 2 or 4 on. I figured some guys were going to do that, but I figured a lot more would do it. And if we went for 4, that we would lose. You know, we'd be back to 7th, 8th, and not have that. And I thought that the run previous, we started with 25 laps on our left side tires and right sides, and took off pretty good and held our own for a while. So, and we got a little bit tight. So when we put right sides on that time with 30 laps on our left side, I made an adjustment with the right side air pressure to try to hopefully fix that. And I was a little nervous that it wasn't the right call, but there was only a few with us. But just getting out there in that clean air, we're looking at the lap times, it evened that out from what I watched all day long.
Let's go to Terry right here in the middle, Terry, and then over here to Kenny. Go ahead, Terry.
Terry Blunt, ESPN.com. Tony, you know, a week ago there were people already questioning your decision, you know, on Darian. Now, just, you know, 7 days later, you win. I mean, do you feel like this takes a lot of the pressure off Steve? And, you know, are you glad to maybe put some of those naysayers behind you?
You guys know I'd never worry about what everybody else says anyway. I mean, I'd like to think over 32 years of racing now, we've made some pretty decent decisions over that period of time. But, you know, it still was a tough decision, like we talked about a million times now. It was a tough decision to leave with Darian. But, you know, from day one, we've told Steve that, you know, that we had an awesome scenario at the end of the year winning the championship, but it's I guess it's easy for us to not feel that pressure from our side, but you know, you understand why the pressure that Steve puts the pressure on himself in that scenario. But we've told him from day one, hey, just we're going to go have fun, we're going to go race hard, and we'll take what it gives us. And you know, I think today was more a day for me personally of just winning at a track I hadn't won at. For Steve, it's, you know, getting that first point win with us. But you know, I think it was a pretty cool 2 weeks. I mean, I was really happy for Darian last week to get that win, because I know it was a tough scenario for both of us to part ways at the end of the year. So it was neat to see him and Denny get a win last week, and it's neat to see Steve and I get a win this week together. So hopefully it'll calm everybody down and let us get back to the task at hand again. So I'm proud of both of our groups for being able to come to new scenarios like this and come out strong like this.
Let's go right here to Kenny and then to Lewis. Go ahead, Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with SingDaily.com. Well, I was going to ask you about the crew chiefs, but I won't do that now. Is this an indication of your all's 1.5 mile program going forward? I mean, can you feel good about the other tracks coming up with this package? And for Steve, how different is this from what those guys were running on these types of tracks last year?
Well, it's just like I told y'all at Daytona, I would be an idiot to come in here and blow this thing apart the way they ran it to 1.5 mile places. But we unloaded close to where they raced last year. We had to tweak on it and get the car to driving better. And we did little things here and there to get it driving better. I felt good after we got the Texas tire test in to go to 1.5 miles and run as fast and as comfortable as we got him in the car down there. To bring that same car to Vegas, I felt a lot more comfortable about it because I'd worked with it a little bit before and made changes with it. So, I mean, I'm sure that the chassis that we get from Hendrick Motorsports are going to be identical to this one, and we're going to, you know, we go about it and approach it the same way, and we're just going to build from what was here before and get the car driving the way we did this weekend.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Lewis.
Thing that everybody's got to remember too is that we did have different tires this week than what we had last year. So I mean, the package changed, and it's like Steve said. I mean, even though we started very similar to where, you know, we were last year here, I mean, there was a lot of work to go through to figure out the different right side compound and the different left side tire altogether. So it's it wasn't a layup weekend. I mean, it wasn't like you can just sit there and throw the notes from 12 months ago on the table and say, all right, this is the magic here. It's you know, it still took going through the steps and the process to try to figure out exactly what it took to keep the left side tires and right side tires happy, and figuring out what it liked different from last year's tires. So I mean, don't underestimate the amount of work he had to do this weekend to get us where we were today.